This is one of our strip grazing fields here at Redwings Horse Sanctuary. Strip grazing is a really useful method for managing grazing ponies. It's a setup that we do use here a lot at Redwings Horse Sanctuary. What we like about it is we find it's really adaptable. So it means that we can have control over the amount of grass intake and also the calories intake for the ponies. So it helps with our diet regimes and general management. It's something that we can make adaptable depending on the actual ponies and their individual needs. So it works really well even if there's 2 ponies in a field or if we have the groups as well. And what we tend to do is we could either then move the fence line AM and PM to give them access to having more grass available, or for some we would move the tape once a day, and for others where they're in groups we would then move as a block of grass. They would have access to that for 2 or 3 days. Once that's eaten off, then we'd actually then move the fence line further down. It's really important to monitor the grass that's actually growing behind them where they've already pre-grazed, because that will be coming up with all the fresh green shoots. And so that's obviously going to contribute to their daily intake. So we have to monitor that depending on the weather conditions. And one way to actually control that would be to put a backline fence in behind the group. So what would happen is the group would then move down the field, eating the grass as they go, and then the benefit of that, when they get to the end, you can turn around and then work your way back again. The ponies have a large enough area to enable them to act naturally and to have freedom. They can have a run around if they want to have a run around. It's also important for them to have access to the shelter and equally the water tank as well, so we make sure that's always available to them. And setup-wise, you need to make sure that we have a good current going through. So it's important, wherever possible, we try to put on the electric on mains electric. If not, we would use an energiser and a battery. So making sure the teams would then check to make sure the batteries are always well charged. And we also use solar, which is really good throughout the summer months, which is generally when we would need to then look to use the strip grazing method. And that tends to work really well. So for the strip grazing, we would manage all different types of groups. It's certainly beneficial for the ones where we do need to monitor their weight, but equally it's useful for the older ponies as well, so we know exactly how much grass intake they are having. You can have the ability that if you didn't want to allow them to have more grass, you can actually then supplement that with hay for some of the groups as well for some of the time to make sure they got their full nutritional needs. But the beauty of it is that you can then adapt accordingly depending on what those individual and what the groups will need.